Standing and walking with feet turned out creates a cascade of negative effects on our overall health. As much as we want to stand and walk with our feet straight, a lifetime of sitting has weakened our inner and outer thighs and turned off the motor skills needed to do this. Many notice that once they get their feet straight, they feel knock-kneed or pigeon-toed, and they are. The reason for this is because of your old habit of walking with your feet turned out. Trying to walk straight forward as you point your feet left and right makes you roll your knees inward with every step. Your connective tissue has adapted and tightened in this pattern. You'd never even notice unless I asked you to get your feet straight. The femur bone of your upper leg is twisting against the socket of your hip, and it will contribute toward the deterioration of your hip joint. This pattern can also contribute to the formation of bunions as you roll across the joint of your big toe and push off the big toe joint with every step rather than pushing off with all of your toes. If you're not sure whether you have this pattern, here's an objective way to check. Face the mirror with straight feet. It can help to find lines on the floor or your yoga mat. And line up your right foot so that your pinky toe and heel are on the same line. Then put your fingers on your ASIS bones of your hips. And now line up your left foot so that a straight line from each hip bone would fall directly to the center of each foot. This is hips width apart. Now look at your knees. If you were to draw a straight line from the center of each kneecap, would those lines cross out in front of you? If so, you have a habit of internal rotation of the upper thigh. The motor skill for external rotation of your thighs has more than likely gone to sleep. It's time to reteach your body a new healthy alignment habit so you can have your hips in alignment to go with your bright, shiny new habit of walking with straight feet. This exercise helps turn on the motor skill. It will help you remember that your whole leg doesn't move like a stiff pencil. You can externally rotate the upper leg while keeping your feet straight. This provides several benefits. Number one, it corrects the alignment of your hip joint and reduces the likelihood of developing osteoarthritis from bone grinding against bone. Number two, it gets your knees pointing in the same direction you're walking and also reduces the likelihood of developing osteoarthritis. Number three, it shifts the ligaments in the back of your knees behind you where they're supposed to be, instead of shifted to the inside as they are when your feet are turned out. This reduces the risk of hyperextension causing ligament tears. Number four, it changes your pelvic floor from a hammock to a trampoline. And number five, it supports the arch of your foot by helping pull upward. The intrinsic muscles of the foot aren't the only muscles in charge of that. Begin with straight feet and place a yoga block between your thighs. Then see if you can cause the block to shift forward and back between your thighs. You will notice the craziest things. Instead of using the motor skill of the upper thighs to externally rotate and shift the block forward, the following may occur. Number one, bending the knees. Number two, tucking the tailbone. Number three, clenching the buttocks. Number four, shifting your weight into your toes. Number five, your feet might shift out, making it really difficult to move the block because your thighs are already rotated as far out as they can get, and there's no place to go. And number six, you may roll to the outside edges of your feet, or a combination of all six. You begin to see why it's a tad difficult for me to teach this without being able to watch you do it and give you feedback. This is why I would love to have you do this standing in profile in front of a mirror. Be your own monitor and check for all of these mistakes, because if you're doing them, you're missing out on the value of the exercise, and the motor skill for external thigh rotation snoozes away. One way to disengage the glutes is to put your hands on them and squeeze as tight as you can. Then relax them completely so you can feel the big difference. Then keep your hands there as you continue to shift the block forward and back while keeping your buttocks relaxed, your legs straight, and your tailbone untucked. If you notice that you are rolling to the outsides of your feet, simply press down into the floor at the joint of the big toe. Anchor your big toe joint known as the hallux, to the ground, and notice what happens to your arches. Inner thigh tone supports a healthy arch. With practice, you will be moving that block forward and back in no time. This is something you can practice doing anywhere, anytime. Standing in line at the bank, waiting for a bus, singing in a choir. And nobody will even know you're doing it unless you want to show this skill off at a cocktail party or something ridiculously fun like that. Hey, look everybody, I'm never going to need hip or knee replacement.